You get to zoom in on your reticle, see all its details, and it provides you with additional ranging capabilities.
Little button, see, right there? Okay, hit that and just locks over.
You can even turn it on its side and use it as monocular that has additional game ranging capabilities.
Hey guys, Rex here. We're sitting in the garage and I am showing you the brand new Primary Arms 3 Power. This is their Micro Prism design, okay? This is the SLX 3 Power Micro Prism ACSS Pegasus Magnifier. Now a magnifier you can place in tandem with like a red dot. I got an MD25 here, holographic sight, stuff like that. And what you can do is give you an additional 3 powers of magnification. Now, I've typically preferred low power variable optics for most applications where I'm at. However, I do have a few rifles that are equipped with something like this. This is the SLX MD25. It has an ACSS reticle in here. This is the ACSS CQB reticle, which is a chevron, but it also has a couple aiming points for ballistic holdovers. And if you can see the chevron well enough, you know the outside of the chevron corresponds to ranging a target, and the inside, and then you have your ballistic holdover values. They're kind of small though, without being able to, magnify it. It's a little bit small, so you have to have pretty good vision. You can look at it, and it kind of blends together at a glance. Having a magnifier like this, you just flip it over, and this does come with a side mount deal, so you can just hit the button. It locks here, okay, pretty solid. And then you can hit the button and it unlocks here. I don't know if you see the button here, see, right there? Little button, see, right there? Okay, hit that and it just locks over, or you can go like this and unlock it, okay? And it stays unlocked, so if it brushes on something, it ain't gonna halfway obstruct your view through the regular optic, okay? Something like this is going to allow you to see the reticle a lot better. So when I'm looking through it now, I can very clearly see the chevron and the different, the geometry of the chevron and the aiming points below it. Plus, with the Pegasus reticle, I'll show you a picture of it here. I got it ready for you. Pegasus aiming reticle will be located in the bottom part of the magnifier tube, and it is like so. You have a 10 milliradian vertical ranging bracket, and you have a 5 milliradian horizontal ranging bracket across the bottom, and then you have your stadiometric ranging for targets that stand 5 foot 10 inches tall. There's critters that stand about that tall in the world, okay? And you got that we have from 2 to 6, and the 2, the 4, and the 600 yard marks are written on there in the reticle, so you can see where you're at, okay? So to use that portion of the reticle, you simply put the feet of your critter that's almost 6 foot tall, okay, on the bottom of the steel, and then the top of the critter hits that line. Whatever line it corresponds with is how far it is. Now, the cool thing about stadiometric rangefinding is anything that sits in those dimensions, you can range. There's an advantage to having this over laser. First off, it is on board, it's on the rifle. You don't have to dig through pockets or remember to bring it, or you forgot it or it fell out of your pocket. It's attached to the rifle. So it's right there when you need it, okay? Also, a stadiometric rangefinding deal, as long as you can see the size of the target, even if it's partially obstructed behind brush or trees or wires or a fence or whatever you might have that might interrupt your laser from actually getting a good solid reading, this will, as long as you can see it, that's the base of your triangle. And you can use basic trigonometry to figure it out. For example, with the mil scale part of it, if you guys have watched the 101 series I had on here for a million years, you can look back at those. But you're gonna see that a mil, very easy to range stuff. If you know the dimensions of your target in inches or meters or simple mathematic conversions, Like if you want to know the distance to your target in meters, you take how many inches it is times 25.4 and divide it by however many mils it takes up in a reticle, okay? That'll give you the range in meters. Or you take the inches of the target times 27.77 and divide that by however many mils it takes up. That'll give you the distance in yards. Really slick. So if you have good logs and if you have a good, book that you keep with you, I always keep that with my long range rifles. You can know the sizes of various objects. And you have them written down ahead of time, and you can use TRPs, target reference points, and range stuff stadiometrically without having to project electromagnetic radiation across the battlefield, which is visible to bad guys and is not reliable in all atmospheric conditions. And if you got a grazing angle to the target with stuff halfway obstructing you there, or if you have a target that's totally skylining or kind of at a grazing angle, sometimes you hit in front of it or behind it by on the order of hundreds of yards off with a laser, because the collimation of the beam might not be precise. It might not be zeroed where you think it is either. This is foolproof. Very easy to go. No batteries needed to do stadiometric rangefinding. It's still being done today, even with all our technology, because of its reliability and passive nature, okay? So that's kind of cool. I like having a range-finding stadiometric deal in my magnifier. That's like brilliant. Why didn't anyone else do that for a long time, right? I don't know who else does that now. I do like the Pegasus, how it's set up. It's pretty slick, having multiple capabilities in there. So when I look through it, you don't have a lot of color distortion. It does appear a little bit to maybe warm up the image. And when I say that, I mean make it more towards your slightly reddish kind of, color scheme, but like not a lot, nothing to inhibit your view. Every optic is going to have a different spot where it kind of makes it feel a little cooler, a little warmer. And I'm just telling you where this one is at. The nature of these prism scopes too, this is kind of the same mechanics as far as I can tell by looking at the outside here as what you have on your prismatic rifle scopes that Primary Arms has, the little 3 power that they're coming out with pretty soon. And I mean, it's right in that same category. It's pretty lightweight. I think it's like 5. Let me check at the specs here, guys. I don't want to get it wrong for you. We're looking at 5.3 ounces, okay? Field of view at 100 yards is 35.2 feet. Eye relief is 2.4 inches, which is manageable for smaller caliber type stuff, this is probably intended for, right? Exit pupil is 7 millimeters. Objective lens diameter is 21 millimeters. And you do have elevation and turret knobs on here. I don't know if you noticed that, just like you will have on the rifle scope. The reticle is, you can move it inside here. Now it's situated on the bottom part of the optic, but if you want to kind of tweak where it's at, you have a little bit of movement left and right, up and down, 75 minutes worth. Now you can't crank it all the way to the top of the optic. You don't have that much movement. I tried, trust me. It doesn't go that far, okay? So you have a little bit of movement. It's gonna, for the most part, stay centered in that bottom part of the scope, but you can tweak it just a little bit as you prefer. Now, there are different ways you can mount this. Right now, I have it set up like for a typical right-handed shooter. If you're wearing a rifle like this, you can flip it with the side mount. I think these are like $69 or $70 extra when you order them from Primary Arms, right? And you can flip it to the side like this, and it flips away from you. So if you're patrol, whatever, got your sling on, you can do this. You can throw it across your back, and it's not going to dig into you. I typically carry mine like this because my 90% environment is like where I would need a little bit of magnification in open country. If I was gonna, for my application, if I was gonna need it for CQB, that wouldn't be my 90%. That'd be like a specialized deal. Then I can put it off the side where it's a little goofy if you're not using it, but doesn't matter. When it's locked behind here, you have the standard profile like you'd have on whatever, right? So kind of cool. There's another way you can mount this, guys, if you think outside the box, right? Is if I switch this around backwards, like I had for a while, it'll flip the other way, like for a left-handed shooter. But as a right-handed guy, I can flip this. Like here, it's a little awkward to kind of get my head over. But if I flip it onto this side, to where it's off this side, I can look behind it, and I can actually turn that ranging reticle sideways. Top secret information. You guys want to hear it? If you turn your stadiometric ranging sideways, because I don't know if you guys noticed this, you have your full height, okay? Which if you flip it sideways, now you have length. And what are these deals? When it's upright, you have the width of these lines. You put the shoulders inside here as well. So you get the shoulder widths, okay? Here to here, and it'll correspond to how far it is, okay? If they're 400, the shoulders will be that wide. If they're 200, the shoulders will be this wide. If I flip it this way, you know that there's a lot of critters on Earth that have a chest size very close to this dimension here of the shoulder width of us. Like if you were to turn sideways, you'd be that tall. A lot of critters correspond that way. You can use this for hunting, man. You can also take it off and use it as a hunting monocular. If you take it off the mount, I would have it in my shirt pocket. Barney 5 style, my front shirt pocket. You bet, pull it out. Little monocular. You have stadiometric ranging brackets. You can get a good estimation. You just turn it sideways and you can measure from the top of the back on a deer to, depending on the size of the critter, they're not all exactly 18 or 19 inches, right, guys? They vary in size a little bit. But you can get a pretty darn good idea at a glance how far they are. You don't even have to get that steady. You can kind of measure up the lines pretty easily, right? Pretty handy, man. So you can do that. And there's a lot of other stuff in life that's that height. You know, there's a lot, like, talk to your varmint hunters. They'll tell you what critters, you know, correspond to about 18 or 19 inches tall, right? Check it out, man. So pretty slick. I did try to get out there and get some real life pictures of critters for you to kind of demonstrate how that would work, okay? Because I don't think the YouTubers would appreciate me showing you other kind of critters on here. But I think that you get the idea of how this works. Simply bracket your target. There it is right there. If you want to get a little bit better of a zero on your scope, you can really zoom in on that chevron with the magnifier. You can, it's very nicely defined, get a little bit better zero. Another thing to mention is if you have this magnifier in tandem with another prism scope like this, you're going to want to have the magnifier diopter. It does have a diopter setting back here, see? So you can sharpen up that reticle. Have that set like ahead of time. Otherwise, you're like, it's going to get squirrely on you because, like, you know, you have a diopter adjustment here and then one back here. So have this magnifier diopter adjusted before you put it on there. And if your other one's adjusted appropriately, it's going to be like, that'll be a lot easier to manage, okay? So yes, you can run it in tandem with those other kind of optics. Another point too is you try to get this behind here as much as possible, up and down wise, right? Otherwise you might kind of be looking through the top. The reticle might be a little towards the top or the bottom. So if you can get it centered behind there, works fine. This MD25 is pretty darn close. Just, I didn't even change any of the mounts. You can probably tweak that a bit. There's a lot of adjustment in these mounting systems they offer, but do check it out. This product pulled me out of my anti-magnifier stance because of the bulkiness of how they have been classically. Magnifiers to me added too much bulkiness and weight for these types of rifles to where I didn't see the payoff. But now, because you're paying way less in terms of not only dollars, but in terms of weight and size, you can afford to have this little extra tiny thing on there. And it gives you some added capability. So if you are looking for a magnifier, these are very, very tough, very low profile, very low snag point. The turrets are, see how they're smooth right there? So it's not going to catch on anything, okay? And at the price point, very hard to beat. At the size and weight, very, very hard to beat. Do check it out. Very nicely executed little product in my opinion. And if you have any questions, type comments below and we'll see if we can help you out. All right, that's all I got for now. Rex out. Yeah, 2 deer.
3 deer.
3 deer. Yep, there comes another one. Walking up the hill. Here they come. Those are mule deer.